Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we're going to be looking at doing a beginner's guide. Now this is for anyone who is thinking of joining the flight sim community. You may not have bought your flight sim yet and you're thinking about buying your flight sim, and you've probably been watching a lot of other videos as well, and you probably are feeling a bit overwhelmed when you look at the sheer things that are going on, because what you're doing is you're watching another flight sim video that somebody is been doing flight simming for probably 10 plus years or more, and so they would actually be doing things in the most realistic way as a real airline pilot does. And if you're watching one of those videos and you feel at that point that maybe this sim's not for you, just put the brakes on for a second, because this sim is for you. You're just watching the wrong type of video to get started. I'm going to show you the most basic, most easiest way to get you going, and we're still going to throw in a little bit of realism in there, just a tiny bit of realism in there as well, but also just keeping things basic. Let's head over into the flight deck. Right, so looking at all this can look a bit intimidating. There's a lot of things that is pushable, a lot of things interact. So yeah, you could find this all overwhelming, especially if you see if you've seen any videos where they might have shown the checklist, and you're probably looking at this, they probably scrolled down this, and you're probably wondering yourself that this is a lot to take in. There's a lot of things that you have to do just to get started. I can tell you this right now, that this is just cosmetic. You don't have to do everything in this particular order. You don't have to. Microsoft Flight Simulator has always tamed for both for the beginners and for the most experienced of flight simmers that have been flying for a very, very long time. As a newbie, you can hit a couple of buttons and you'll get those engines running, or you can do it as what real world pilots do, and do what is called a cold and start. So, and as you can see that the aircraft is completely switched off, there's no power to it, so we have to rake the aircraft up. So that is known as a cold and start. And you've probably been watching videos where you're watching some of the most experienced flight simmers that have been flying for years, and so they're doing things in a more professional way. It doesn't mean to say that you have to do that straight from the get-go. You can learn all these things in time. As you gain more experience in the flight sim, you get more hours behind you, your flying hours, and you get used to your environment. Once you've get used to your environment, there's a ton of room for progression, and you can progress at your own pace. You don't need to go full pelt and think that you have to learn everything at day one. So I'm going to show you the most basic, simple way to waken up the aircraft, and we're not even going to look at that checklist. We're not going to follow it in that order. Okay, what we're focusing on is getting you, the new flight simmer, into that sky quick and in an efficient way, right, while adding just a little bit of realism. So it just spices things up, makes things a little bit more exciting. So what we're going to do in this part, because I'm going to split these videos up into several parts. So let's go ahead and let's get some power to this aircraft. The first thing you do here is you flick this guard down, and this is going to switch on the battery, and as you can see, we've got some power to the aircraft. We ain't got a full power, but we've got some power going to my side of the electrical systems and powering the overhead. Now it depends on what 737 you're going to get. If you get the PMDG 737, these guards might be up, which means to say that the switches would be in the off position, and this might not be illuminated. Okay, this ground power might not be illuminated. So I'm not sure how the PMDG 737 is like in its current sort of shut down, switched off state. But if it is like this, it's basically just simple click on the guards, which will automatically flick the switches into the on position, like so. So if this is still off, you would need to go to the ATC, ground services, and you would ask to request a power supply.
Heathrow ground, 940 minus. Could you please send a ground power unit?
Now once you've done that part and you've got the power supply connected, this light should illuminate, and then you'll flick that down, and then you can go ahead and put the Gen 1 and Gen 2s on. Flick the left aft switch to the fuel. Over here, once you've done that part, you want to put the nav lights on to say that this aircraft is active, that it has power. Then we need to start the APU. Now the APU switch you want to put into the starter position, so twice to bring it all the way down, and it will go back into the on position. And now you need to wait until these are illuminated. So this needs to be illuminated in order to continue on with the APU, the auxiliary power unit, is what it is. So while we're waiting for that to do its thing, you can go to the IRS, and we can put that into the nav mode, like so. So if I move the camera over a little bit, you'll see we got it in the nav position. That's where you want it to be. You can come down and you can put the window heats on. Leave these all off. Leave these off. This will be sorted out later on in the videos. I'll get these, flick those switches down as well. You don't need to, but I'm just adding just a little tiny bit of realism for you. And you can go ahead and put no smoking on, and seatbelt sign you can put on if you want. Right, it shouldn't be too long until that APU is illuminates. Now that this is illuminated, we can now flick those on. We'll come over here and we'll put the APU on, that's here in the middle, and then the bleeds, we'll switch them on. The packs, just push them all the way down, just flick them all the way down to the very bottom, and that's it. Now we've got the APU running, and that is it. That is how we get the aircraft woken up and get power to it. It's as simple as that. Adding that little bit of realism, just doing a few little extra things, but very straightforward. And we didn't use the checklist, and we didn't go in the order of the checklist. We just done the most basic things to get the power running in the aircraft. Now that we're running on the APU, before we end the video, you can go back into this and you can request to end the power supply, because we're running on our own power, so we don't need the extra power supply, so we can get rid of that. And that's it, that's job done. Okay, so there we have it. You'll be able to switch the aircraft on, get the power going in the aircraft, wake it up, in a very straightforward way. But we'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.